What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here, bringing you this week's episode of Stompbox Saturday, and on the stomping block today, we have the Tremolo from Voodoo Lab. Now, we all know the name Voodoo Lab. They make the pedal power supply, and that's sort of been their bread and butter for the majority of their existence, and rightfully so. It's a great power supply. But I bet you didn't know that they're also releasing guitar pedals, and the Tremolo is part of their first generation of effects. It seeks to get you that vintage amp style tremolo, which I really like, and it does it very, very well. And it's got 4 controls on the front of the pedal to get you your sound: intensity, slope, speed, and volume. Now, with intensity, that's going to be the amount of effect that you're going to hear. You can make it subtle, you can make it heavy. We'll check that out in a little bit. Slope is going to set sort of the apparency of the waveform. You can get a nice gradual drop in the waveform, or you can get a more choppy apparent waveform. With speed, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. It sets how fast the tremolo effect is going to go. And the volume. Now, this isn't necessarily the volume of the effect, and it's not necessarily affecting the tremolo sound so much as it's maybe giving you a little bit of extra juice coming out of the output. I find that it has a little bit of boost, which can lend itself really nicely to just as a normal boost. So, that sound that you heard at the top of the video, a nice, slow, undulating tremolo sound, let's see what other kind of sounds that we can conjure up with the Voodoo Lab Trem. Now, when it comes to classic rock and roll, 2 effects come to mind: reverb and tremolo, and those sounds were used to great effect by the surf bands. So I can't think of a more appropriate sound to get with the Voodoo Trem than that choppy, surfy trem. So I've dialed in something for that. I've got intensity and slope both at 3 o'clock on the dial. I've dialed in the speed to be slightly fast, so about 2 o'clock on the dial, and I'm goosing the volume so I can get a little bit of extra push into the front end. First, dry. Now with this sound, I'm going to go for something that would work really well with an alternative rock kind of group. So I've dialed back the slope to be a little bit smoother, but I've upped the intensity all the way. I backed off the volume to not get so much of a boost, just really make that effect get heard, and I'm leaving it fast. I find that I like the faster settings on this for more high energy music, as, well, would kind of be apparent, but that's neither here nor there. Let's listen to how this sounds. So years ago when I discovered Joe Bonamassa, I saw he had a full-tone Super Trem on his board. And the crazy thing was, he wasn't even using it for the tremolo. He was using it as a boost, which I thought was kind of cool, but at the same time didn't really get it. Well, after some research, I understand how he was able to, and you can do the very same thing with the Voodoo Lab Trem. Now, you're probably asking, why not just get a boost pedal? Well, Alton Brown and I share similar philosophies when it comes to the kitchen and guitar gear. We love a good multitasker, so let's check it out. I've got the volume dimed all the way up, and we're gonna check that out in front of a dirty amp. So, here we go. Well, everybody, there you have it. That's the Voodoo Lab Tremolo. I really like this. It's got a really great tone and it captures that vintage amp style trem in a really great and very usable way. I prefer the counterclockwise side of the slope over the more apparent clockwise side of the knob, but that's just me. And the only real criticism I can give this is that the speed tends to come on really fast. As you turn up the knob, you might want to find those settings, there's one speed that's too slow and one speed that's too fast, and it's really difficult to get that in the middle setting that you really, really want. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Shoot me a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's episode. And until then, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and I wish you good tone and happy stomping. Cheers, everybody.